We are in Prague. Well, that's a good start of the video, for fuck's sake. Hey there, you lovely legends. My name is Fedor. I'm a stand-up comedian. Not a famous one. I don't have a Netflix special. I just tour the world to perform in dodgy bars, in weird places. And in this vlog, we're gonna have a look at what the fuck that looks like. We are in Prague, and Prague is of course a lovely city, but it is day 7 of our tour. We had 6 shows already. We're getting a bit tired. I think people really underestimate how exhausting touring like this is. It's traveling every day, doing shows every evening. There's usually just not enough time to get some decent food, and nights are short. And you're perpetually stressing about ticket sales, promoting, because most of the shows we promote ourselves, which is a pain. Well, let's say a challenge. Let's be optimistic. Why? What? I mean, does this say don't walk on the grass? Or do walk on the grass? Feel welcome to walk on the grass? Or hover above the grass like you're Jesus hovering above the water? I don't know what this means. It's weird. But we'll hover above the grass, I guess. One of the great advantages of performing here in Prague is that we have Velvet Comedy organizing the show for us, which is great because when you're already on the road all day, it's a lot of work. So we're really happy that here Velvet Comedy has taken great care of us. They have a lovely venue. We're also doing on Friday, we're doing one of their own shows, one of Velvet Comedy's shows, and on Saturday we're doing our own Best of Amsterdam showcase that we're touring with. I am staying in a different area than I usually stay in Prague, and I have to say I'm really surprised at how lovely and colorful the buildings are. I mean, look at it. This is really nice. Looks like we moved to a fancier place. Looks like my career is going in the right direction because I moved to a fancier neighborhood. Yippee-ki-yay. Prague has a pretty decent comedy scene. It has the best comedy scenes from the cities we're doing on this tour, at least. They have a couple of weekly shows, and Velvet Comedy taking care of most of them and doing a good job at it. This is already my 3rd time in Prague in like 6 months, just because it's such a great place to perform. And you know, there are some lovely people in the local scene. Looking forward to seeing them again. So it's going to be fun. For some of our team, it's their 1st time in Prague, so they're going to explore the city a bit. So they're also really excited about seeing the city. So yeah, let's go and have a look-see. Yes, we definitely moved to a fancier neighborhood. Now, before I go and perform in the city, I always Google some fun facts about the city and the culture and the country, etc. If you do that with Prague, you will find one of the first things you will always find is that they drink the most beer per capita in the world by quite a margin. And I've been here before. I can confirm that they drink a lot of beer. The second thing you might find is that they also have the most people working in the porn industry per capita in the world. Which always makes me wonder, is that a chicken and egg thing? Is it like they drink beer because they're in porn, or are they in porn because they drank too much beer? Either way, good for you, Prague. Good for you. Now about that show, because we had a bit of an incident. That's why you're looking at me now instead of just footage of the stage. So let me tell you first what happened. The show was basically good. We had over 140 people in, which meant the room was nicely filled and packed, and people were super excited. It was a lovely show. Not just with our own comedians, not just with Luana, Alina and Sid Singh, who all did great. We also had Velvet Comedy's own Christina Haklova doing a spot and doing some nice stories kind of in the team about the Netherlands, because we're doing the Best of Amsterdam tour. And we had my friend, Scottish comedian Grant Gallagher on, and he actually hosted the show, and he did amazing. He's an amazing host and a lovely guy. And I was on last. I closed the show. And by this time it was very late because we started very, very late. And also the break took very long because the bar staff wasn't prepared for 140 alcoholics. So by the time I was on, it was very late and people were very drunk. It was still a good show, it was fun, but they were noticeably drunk. It was very hard to keep their focus and attention. And then this happened. This is not a sound you want to hear as a comedian. And you know it's not a glass falling, because as a comedian, you know how it sounds like when somebody knocks over a glass, or even when a glass falls off a table, because this happens more often than you would hope for at a comedy show. So you recognize the sound, and this was way, way louder. Honestly, it sounded like somebody fell through a glass table. And I mean, just look at me. Look at my face. Okay? I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. It's like full-on panic mode. Like the classical deer in the headlights. Because this is, whatever it is that happened, it happened like way in the back of the room. And you see, I saw people jumping up. There was panic, there was chaos. And I had no idea. And I was trying to figure out what was going on. But everybody in the back was just busy with the panic. With the panic and the chaos. And it took a while to figure out that what had happened is that we had a balcony, and the balcony was full with people as well. And the balcony is like 5 meters above the floor. It's a high-ass balcony. And someone in the audience got a bit drunk and accidentally dropped a bottle. He dropped a bottle from the balcony, and it fell on a table, and it shattered, like the glass shattered everywhere. It nearly hit 2 lovely girls that were just trying to sit there and enjoy the show. They basically, out of the blue, got bombarded with glass. Not just the glass bottle shattered, the glasses it fell on shattered. There was glass everywhere, like complete panic. Luckily, and this really is a stroke of pure luck, nobody got hurt. But the chaos, it took a few minutes because everyone was drunk. Even the staff was, well, tipsy-ish. Because they had their first ever comedy show at their venue. They were excited. So it took like minutes to figure out everyone's fine. Well, the girls were like mentally, they were scarred. Like they were pissed off, obviously. Somebody removed the drunk person from the balcony because obviously that wasn't working. And all this took like 6 minutes before I could continue the show and try to get back the audience on track. But that was a struggle. You already have an audience that has trouble focusing because it's so late, they're so drunk, and then this happens. That's a tough one. It was a tough show, to be honest. And yeah, finally managed to get the audience back on track, wrap up the show. I literally only wrapped it up like as soon as I got them back on track and I got a few laughs, I wrapped it up because we were running so late and the audience had like so much to process. We had stuff to process. That we called it the night after that. But yeah, Prague, lovely city. But the show was quite an experience. But not to Velvet Comedy's fault, not to the venue's fault. It's something that happens, I guess. This is not just the end of this video, but also the end of the Best of Amsterdam tour I did together with Alina, Luana and Sid Singh. We actually did more shows than you saw in my vlog. We also did shows for instance, in Zagreb, Budapest and Vienna. But I was sick for a couple of days, so although I did perform, I did not record anything. I basically just crawled on the stage, tried not to vomit and puke and whatever, and crawled back off and went to bed, and that's it. So there's not a lot of footage. But if you did like this video, please like, because for every like we get on this video, I will personally liberate a schnitzel. A schnitzel will walk free for every like. That's my promise. Schnitzels to the world. And also please subscribe and ring that alarm bell, because we're gonna do some very cool shows in weird places soon. I'll announce more of that soon, but it's gonna be very interesting from now on. So stay tuned in and console the turtle. Cheers.